Can't just be hearers, gotta be doers of the word. Some that lift their minds and rise higher.
Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
That's what we came to do.
Let's talk about it. Talk about it.
That's what we came to do.
Kingdom Talk, let's talk about it. It's Thursday. We are inside the live broadcast of Kingdom Talk, and we are blessed and highly favored. Pray that you've had a wonderful day on today, and I pray that your evening will continue to go well. It is just great to be back with you. It's been, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks since we've had an opportunity to be with you and share with you. But it is the live broadcast, not a rebroadcast. And I'm your host, Augustus Washington Jr. And we have a blessed broadcast set up for you on tonight. Going to be dealing with the whole man, going to be dealing with primarily really the importance of gut health. It's going to be really something that you need to tune in and listen to on tonight. So you already know what I need you to do. Get on the phone, call a neighbor, tell a friend. Kingdom Talk is on the air. It's a live broadcast, not a rebroadcast. How do I know that? Because it is, what is this, March the 23rd. March the 23rd. It's been 3 weeks since we've been live. So it's March 23rd, 2020, 2K20. And so we want you to, again, tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Kingdom Talk is live and on the air. I have a special guest in with me tonight, Daniel King. I'm going to give him a proper introduction. Yes. And just a moment, we're going to pray and we're going to believe God. I'm going to share with you a couple of ways how to connect with us through social media. All right. So, one of the ways that you can do that, of course, if you know someone outside of the listening area of 99.9 FM radio, by all means, send them to the World Wide Web at WUCC999.com. WUCC999.com. When you get to that homepage, look to the right of the homepage. There's a red tab that says Listen Live. Click on that red tab. If you're on an iPhone, smartphone, or tablet, scroll down just a little bit to the middle. You'll see that same tab. Just click it. If you have an internet connection, you can be with us wherever you're going. We'd love to go with you, all right? So want you to do that. Also, if you know someone that loves a visual with a commentary, by all means, send them back to the World Wide Web at YouTube and go to YouTube. Kingdom Talk with Augustus. Kingdom Talk with Augustus. We are monitoring that page right now. And there's a live chat room there on the right of that screen there, the stream. And you'll be able to chat with us during the broadcast. Questions or comments are welcome here on Kingdom Talk on that platform as well. Also, for my Facebookers, get on Facebook. Let me know that you tuned in. We are monitoring that page also. And of course, that's just Kingdom Talk. And you can go on that page. We are monitoring that page also. And you'll be able to chime in there on that live stream there as well. So let us know that you are tuned in and listening. All right. So we love you to life. Thank God for you. We're going to pray and we're going to believe God for a blessed broadcast on tonight. I want you to stick and stay for the next hour of the broadcast. All right. We're going to pray. We're going to believe God for a blessed broadcast. Then we're going to introduce our special guest. And then we'll get into a few particulars. Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. Thank you for another opportunity to be able to come before your people on radio. We thank you for internet radio reaching millions of people. We thank you, Lord God, even for touching the CSRA right now. 1.5 million. And we just give your name the praise, the glory, and the honor. We ask that you bless it. Let us give your people information that will be helpful to them, information that will cause them to grow in every area of their life, information that will touch the whole man, not just the spirit or the body, but the whole man, the spirit, the soul, and the body. We thank you for that. In Jesus' wonderful, precious name, the Messiah, Lord, we do pray. Amen. All right. Well, as I said, our special guest tonight is Daniel King. He has been a guest with us before. It's great to have you back with us on tonight. Appreciate you. Just introduce yourself and kind of give the people a little bit some of what's going on with you since the last you've been on the broadcast, and there's a lot that's happening right now.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while. Thank you.
Yes.
So the last time that I was on, I think we briefly talked about alkalizing, and I had a chance to discuss my book.
Yes.
I just want to thank everybody listening for the wonderful response that I got. A lot of people called me, texted me, left me voicemails looking for digital copies of the book. I did have a few people looking for a physical copy, and at that time, I didn't have any. I hadn't had any for a couple years, actually. So I have bought several black and white and full color copies. If you're still interested in those, please send me a message.
Awesome.
And I'm still giving out the electronic version for free, and we encourage a $10 donation with that if you have it.
Amen.
As far as what's been going on other than that, it's just been busy. Business as usual, trying to help people reach them.
Absolutely. How can they? So they just text you.
Sure.
Kind of give that information. Just maybe someone that may want to get the hard copy, and even the information if they still want to get the e-copy as well.
Yep, and the phone number is the same for that. It's 803-761-0307. This is a dedicated phone line I have just for the book. So there's no confusion, no disorganization with my personal texts, and I'll be able to get back to you more quickly that way. There were some people that they messaged me, and it took me like a month to get back to them. I do apologize. And that phone number again is 803-761-0307. 803-761-0307. Just text me and say book if you want a free digital copy. If you would like to purchase a black and white, say black and white. If you want a full color, say full color.
Awesome. So, as you know, all of you that are joining us tonight, as you know, I am an advocate for touching the whole man, as an individual that is a spiritual individual. I believe that the Word of God deals with the whole man. And so I met Daniel, I don't know, when did I meet you?
I don't know, 3 to 6 months ago, maybe longer. I've been where I'm working. I've been there for a year and a couple months now. So it could be a few months at least. It could be about a year. It's been a while.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely say anywhere from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
8 months ago. And just, I don't know, the connection happened. And we're working on some things, and the friendship is growing. It's just been one of those things where, health and the information that he has is really is something that I'm very much interested in, and so we are working on some things now. For those of you that are looking in, and let me just say hello to Facebook and YouTube. We're working on some things, spirit, soul, and body. We are working at getting a platform totally dedicated to that. As I said, we are both advocates for health and just the natural way of doing things, how the body works, etc. And so prayerfully, we're going to be able to get that platform. We'll have a YouTube page dedicated to it. We're going to be doing some live things, even like we're doing with Kingdom Talk. We have prayerfully a Facebook page dedicated to it. And when the COVID-19 situation is done, it is highly possible that we're going to be doing some live conferences and and different things. So I got a lot of things.
Exciting.
Yes. So we're going to work at doing that. I've talked with him about some of it, but anybody that knows me know that I like to go all the way with it if we're going to do it, and so that's what we're doing, and that's what we're working on. So prayerfully, y'all keep us in prayer that will make that happen. So enough of that. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button on YouTube if you have not. Hit the notification button so whenever we come on with anything, you'll be notified that we're doing that. All right. So enough of all of that. Let's get into it, Daniel. Tonight we're going to talk about the importance of gut health. I'm going to incorporate or amalgamate it into as it relates to the whole man. But I want to get into some particulars, specifics about gut health. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about, of course, you understand, what it's the stomach, the gut, and all of those things. So just start wherever you want to start with that.
Okay, absolutely. So I'm going to start with the intestines, actually.
Okay.
You have more square footage in your intestines than an entire tennis court. So if you laid the whole thing out, you're all carrying a tennis court worth of body inside of your gut. And that surface area is used to absorb nutrients. Beyond that, the crypts of the small intestines are actually where your red blood cells are made. This is something that you will not find from your conventional medical doctors. They're going to tell you your red blood cells are made in the bone marrow. But that only happens when your gut is too acidic. If your gut has a pH that's below an 8.4, if it's not a good environment for your red blood cells, it will revert to making the red blood cells in the bone marrow because that's where it's safer there, basically. But again, according to the research that I have, Dr. Robert O. Young, he's found that the red blood cells are made in the crypts of the small intestines.
And how long?
The length, I don't have that number off the top of my head, but the square footage is greater than a tennis court. So
Wow.
go stand in a tennis court when all this is over and just look around, and that's the inside of your stomach, your intestinal lining, actually.
And that's small and
Large, both of them
large.
together combined.
Okay.
And it's the small intestines is where the red blood cells are made. The pH, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, is supposed to be about an 8.4. And again, this is according to Dr. Robert O. Young's the pH Miracle. So 8.4 is slightly alkaline. Traditionally, when you talk to your primary care physician, they're going to tell you need to be acidic to digest food. That is a bit of a myth. The stomach acid's actually there as a waste product. And that's all something that Dr. Young explains in a chemical formula. But your intestines, they're there to deliver nutrients, right? You've got your bloodstream on the other side of the intestines where the nutrients go through. And that bloodstream is protected by something called the villi. And so the villi are these tiny little hairs, these little fibers. They're very sensitive. They're very easily damaged. And when they get damaged enough, you can start having some serious problems. So just a short list of foods that if you overconsume them can cause damage to the intestines. These are lists of highly acidic foods coming out of the pH Miracle right from Dr. Young. Peanuts, mushrooms, yeast, mold.
peanuts.
Yeah. Peanuts have 26 different fungus and mold creating enzymes, and I might be off on my number by that slightly. Corn as well has like 23 different fungus and mold creating enzymes. And so when I say fungus and mold creating enzymes, what I mean is that the acid in the corn, the acid in the peanuts actually triggers the decay process in your body. It tells your body to start breaking down. The red blood cells, your healthy cells, and they become too acidic, they transform. This is called pleomorphism. It was recorded by an Anton Béchamp around the same time that Louis Pasteur was really pushing the pasteurization. And keep in mind, Pasteur was not a scientist. He was a salesman with good political contacts. So everything we know about pasteurization came from his political career, his sales career, versus his science career.
Wow.
And so he believed that if we cook things, we could transform or kill, actually. He didn't say transform, he said kill bacteria. We cook milk to make it safe to drink. We cook juice to make it safe to drink. That's all based on this sort of single-cell theory. But pleomorphism, Béchamp said that the blood cells transform. And Dr. Young's actually recorded this. There's videos of this online. You can see the red blood cells transforming in an acidic environment into bacteria, then fungus, yeast, then fungus, then mold. And he shows it in reverse as well. He's even seen, I think he said HIV-positive cells turn back into healthy red blood cells. So there's all sorts of transformations that can happen within the blood just based around the pH.
Something, and that was what we were talking about a little bit last time.
Yeah.
The pH is the alkaline.
Correct.
Okay. So a lot of times people say,
Yeah,
eat peanuts or eat,
Yeah, they'll say eat peanuts or you'll eat corn because it's a common American food. It's corn's in everything, honestly. Citric acid oftentimes comes from corn or black mold. Sorbic acid sometimes can come from corn if you don't get it from a good source. Natural flavors, xanthan gum. There's potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, all the weird chemical food additives that you see. Most of those come from corn. And that corn's heavily subsidized. It's actually illegal to label it as a food allergen because of how heavily subsidized it is. It's a major part of our economy right now. So it's kind of crazy, all the stuff that happens around corn.
Wow.
But it's absolutely acidic. People say to eat peanuts for the protein. People eat corn because it tastes good, and it's a cultural tradition. But they're both highly acidic.
Wow.
In my case, I had an allergy to corn that made me walk with a cane for 3 weeks. And ironically, I actually wound up curing that with an extract from mushrooms. So not the mushrooms themselves, but an extract as a beta-1,3-glucans. It's a different story. But the people that you talk to, if you go talk to a nurse or a medical professional and tell them you want to alkalize to heal, you're going to get the same answer every time, generally. They're going to tell you, no, that's not a thing. It's not possible. Your blood has a very specific homeostasis pH, and you can't change it. But there's a cost to it. Nothing's infinite. Your bones aren't infinite. This is why we have osteoporosis. So you use your calcium, you use your potassium, your magnesium, your sodium to neutralize the acid in your blood to keep it that 7.365. And if it varies a little bit of that, you will die. So this is a homeostasis that has to be maintained, homeostasis. So beyond, you've got peanuts, mushrooms, yeast, mold, fermentation. So that would include vinegar, would include alcohol, would include tempeh, fermented tofu, which I eat as a treat, but I don't eat it all the time. That would include overconsumption of meats and dairy as well. They're going to tear up the gut, overconsuming those. Processed foods, things like chips, and which is my personal weakness is chips. It always has been. Yeah, chips and chocolate and fast food and anything that doesn't look like it came out of grandma's garden or your neighbor's garden. That's, that's going to be more upsetting to the gut. Even if it's organic, it's going to be more upsetting to the gut just because it's processed.
Wow.
It's not a whole food source. So when you take a grain and you put it in a silo and it sits there for a long time, it harbors fungus, yeast, and mold. And you don't see it when you buy it. You don't see it when you transform it into a cracker or a cookie or something like that. But ultimately, that yeast is still in there. And that's one of the things Dr. Young talks about as being a high risk for consuming stored grains as opposed to fresh grains. So processed foods in general, unless you're processing it yourself or it's primarily like kale and vegetables, it's going to be more acidic over time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then sugar. Sugar is the last one on there. And one of the things that I put in my book was that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine and affects the brain almost identically. It is a toxin.
That's amazing.
It is, and we hand it out to kids all year long. We give it to them at Christmas. We give it to them at Valentine's Day. We give it to them at Easter. We give it to every single generation. Every American kid grows up on candy.
Yes.
And we have this concept that we have, low blood sugar. But it's actually, you should have almost no blood sugar. But that's a whole nother story.
Wow.
But your villi, when they get destroyed, and I think this is what happened to me, actually. When your villi get destroyed, the holes from your intestines that lead into your bloodstream are wide open. So that means the smallest protein can then make its way from your food directly into your bloodstream without being digested. Can you guess what the smallest protein is?
I can't.
Gluten. So all these people having gluten issues, I think a lot of it has to do with their gut has become too acidic, and the gluten is going directly into their bloodstream unbroken down. And that's what triggers an autoimmune response. That's where the white blood cells ramp up, and they start cleaning everything up, and you start dealing with inflammation, and you can have all kinds of problems.
Definitely not good.
No, it's definitely not good. I dealt with that for a few years. My mom had celiac disease. My sister had celiac disease. I had all of the symptoms well enough that I didn't bother going and getting a biopsy done. But it was painful. I'd spend hours in the day in the restroom or in bed, intense back pain, all kinds of other problems. And I wound up reversing it. I did.
How did you do that?
It was quite a process. There's a book by Dr. Ellen Cutler called The Food Allergy Cure. She does a process in there called Bioset. That was one of the things that I did, the Food Allergy Cure. My wife helped me out with that. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate you. Beyond that, I did follow Dr. Young's program of the liquid cleansing. It took me like a year or two of doing a lot of liquid cleansing, a lot of raw alkaline food. I had to avoid all gluten for like 6 months to a year. And then when I went back to it, I started with the sprouted grains.
Okay, I want you to elaborate on that just a little bit
liquid-
more. The liquid, what'd you call it?
So Dr. Young calls it liquid feasts.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, we would call it a cleanse or liquid fasting.
Mm-hmm.
His method would involve raw, cold-pressed, unpasteurized, low-sugar green juices, celery, cucumber, kale, things like that.
Would that be something that you could do on your own, like if you
Yes.
had a juicer or whatever?
Absolutely. And I've had several juicers. The first 2 or 3 I destroyed in the first 2 or 3 years. Any juicer that you get, just expect that you're going to break the first 2 or 3 because you don't know what you're doing. It's a lot of work to clean it. And then once you've broken a couple and you feel a little more familiar with what you're doing, I would recommend you go and get something like a Champion or a Samson or I think there's a Omega 3000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Champion personally. It was given to me for free by a lovely person, and it made a big difference. Just having everything juiced. You would want what they call a masticating juicer as opposed to centrifugal. The difference is the centrifugal juicer spins and can heat up your food. And when you heat it up, you're losing nutrients, you're losing enzymes, you're losing all the raw antioxidants and polyphenols and the compounds from the plant that make it so potent. You're losing a lot of that.
Okay.
But the Champion juicers work great. I was contracted to open up a couple of smoothie bars, and one of them was also a juice bar, and that was the juicer we had in there, was the Champion juicer.
Okay.
So it worked professionally just fine.
It's another one. I have it at home. I'm trying to think of the name of it. They use it in...
Is it TriBest? Green Star?
No, it's you can make soup in it as well.
Okay, that sounds like either the Blendtec or the Vitamix, right?
Vitamix.
So that's a blender that does work as a whole juicer.
Yes.
And so the difference between what you get in a Vitamix, that's an excellent point. What you get between the Vitamix versus like a Champion, the Champion has it's a long cylinder that has metal teeth that spins slowly and grinds it up and pushes it through a screen. So you're effectively removing all the fiber and super concentrating all the nutrients. So you can take a huge tray of fruits and vegetables and condense it down into like a 16 to 32 ounce juice and drink that 2-3 times a day. And the nutrition you would get there versus what your ancestors got is astronomical. It's exponentially. It's a lot higher.
Wow.
Versus, when you're making a smoothie, you take like a handful of a couple pieces of produce. Maybe you might take half an avocado, and you might take a little cucumber and some kale and some berries, but no more than a few handfuls, and you blend it into a smoothie that's like 16 to 24 ounces. All that fiber keeps you really full, and then your stomach still has to work to press the juice out from the actual mixture. So when you're doing the liquid juices by themselves, you get a much higher nutrient concentration. Both of those still fit for the liquid feasting.
Okay.
It's just according to what you feel like you need. They also recommend teas and warm vegetable broth.
Okay.
I've also done protein shakes during it. I think Dr. Young would probably not want you to do protein shakes, but if you need something to help keep you full, I think a protein shake, if it's clean, is probably okay. He recommends a chew plate where you can have cucumber, avocado, and tomato, high water content produce if you get really hungry. And he says to do that 24 hours once a week, if not up to like 3 days.
So this is more for severe, chronic type.
It depends on what you're dealing with. There's actually documentaries, I think it's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead on YouTube. A guy from Australia comes into America and does a 60-day juice cleanse and reverses urticarias, which is psoriasis eczeema, and gets off of a whole bunch of different prescription drugs, loses like 100 pounds. So in his case, that was pretty severe, right? But he calls it a reset afterwards, and he uses this reset for everybody. So if you have like psoriasis and eczema, doing a reset can help to eliminate a lot of toxins that would otherwise come out in your skin.
Okay.
Right. If you eliminate them from your gut, they don't come out in your skin, basically. But it's just according to what you're dealing with.
Okay.
I go through a cleanse once a month, once every few months, just to help give me a boost. Somebody like my mother-in-law, before she passed of cancer, she was doing liquid juices all day, every day. Now, she still had raw food, salads and whatnot as well, but she was very religious with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it made a big difference for her. It did.
Wow. It's 26 minutes now past the hour of 7 p.m. You're inside the live broadcast of Kingdom Talk. And, of course, about 34 minutes before the top of the hour, we're sitting in with Daniel King as our special guest on tonight. And we're talking about the importance of a healthy gut, and we are really kind of the thing I want to do is really amalgamate the two together as relates to the whole man. And these are things that a lot of times we as believers don't talk about, or we don't get involved in, because it's just all about spirit going to heaven, whatever. But some people are going too early because they don't understand the importance of these type of things, and really getting involved with how the body works, and understanding that there are times where we have to not only do a spiritual cleanse, but we need to do a natural cleanse. And that's what Daniel is talking about. And that's what we're getting into. So I really want you to pay close attention to what's being said, because all of these things, when we start talking about getting rid of, flushing out, and putting the proper things in, it's extremely important for your spiritual man to grow as well, to get the proper understanding of the Word of God and flush out all of the negative, flush out the traditional thinking of certain things. And so that's the part I want you to get as well, so you can really understand how this thing works. And sometimes, and I think we've talked about this too, Daniel. For me, I love doctors. I believe God has placed them for a reason. I believe that they play their part. However, the pharmaceutical industry is just not, it's not helping.
They've skewed a lot of their perspectives.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we want to listen. If you need to go to the doctor, go. If you need to take a prescription med, take it.
Seriously.
However, work on getting away from it so you can move to the natural part of it.
Absolutely. And even so, like right now I'm not taking any, but in the last couple of weeks I've had to take Claritin, Mucinex, and Sudafed. And that's in addition to me taking all the other natural things that I have for mucus and sinuses.
Yes.
Now right now I'm off of it because I managed to flush my system out, so I didn't have to take it. But while I was on it, I was also taking other things to help naturally eliminate the acid, the waste products from those prescription drugs. They're all loaded with hydrochloric acid. They're all loaded with other binders and fillers that gum up the intestines. And the whole point behind flushing is to flush the darkness out,
Yes.
and refill with light. That's the whole point on alkalizing,
Awesome.
is to refill with light and flush out the darkness. The darkness is the acid, the death force. The alkaline is the life force, the light.
So the acid is the dark
Yes,
force,
correct.
and the alkaline is the light force.
Yes, and so the passage that comes to mind for me is to make your body a beacon of light,
Yes.
a temple unto the earth.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's what I visualize when I think about alkalizing, is to make your body full of light, of electrical potential.
You know, you said something, Daniel, earlier that I thought was key about the gut health and what we put in our bodies, what we digest, and then how the blood is affected by
Yes.
when things are not great or what have you.
Yes, and it's easy to check that out too.
Yeah, and I want you to talk about that. The scripture that came to mind was Leviticus, I think 17 and 11. The life of the flesh is in the blood.
Correct.
So when the blood is
Healthy, the flesh is healthy.
there, you go.
Yep. And Dr. Young takes it a step further, I think, and says something to the effect of, for the life of all blood is in the grass. And so he's saying that everything, no matter what you eat, if you eat nothing but beef from the moment you're born to the moment you die, you're still eating grass. That cow lived on nothing but grass.
Yes.
You just ate the middleman. So you're still getting hemoglobin from grass.
Yes.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're going to open up the phone lines in a little bit, but Daniel, I want you to continue and just some of this information here.
Sure. So I just want to pick up where I left off in regards to when your villi and your intestine get too damaged. We covered these food allergies, with gluten being the smallest protein that fits into that the bloodstream. I think corn gluten, if I remember my research correctly, corn gluten is the next highest protein in size. After that is casein, and then lactose. So what you're having is you get people that have gluten intolerance, and then they switch to corn products, which is more acidic, more loaded with mold and fungus and Roundup, glyphosate, which has got all sorts of lawsuits for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancer, leukemia. It goes on and on.
Absolutely.
Monsanto's in big trouble right now. But that's why you have these people that go with gluten-free and they go to corn, and then after that they suddenly get a dairy allergy, and it seems to come out of nowhere. And that's what happened to me. I went gluten, corn, dairy, all three of them allergic. Just knocked them all off.
Wow.
Yeah. So the dairy allergy, I don't care to fix. I'm happy with being allergic to dairy because it keeps me a little bit cleaner for my body.
Okay.
But that's the way that it's going to wind up going. After the food allergies, or even along with them, you do have some other things you have to look out for. Lower hemoglobin, right? We talked about the red blood cells being made in the intestines when they're healthy, and when they're not, it's made in the bone marrow. So if your intestines are not healthy and you're not eating a lot of leafy green, chlorophyll-rich food, then you're going to have low hemoglobin. You're going to be anemic. You're basically relying on the iron of the animal to support your hemoglobin instead of taking the direct source, the leafy greens or grasses. You might also be likely to experience what they call quote-unquote leaky gut, where you're...
That's very bad.
It is. It's where you're not able to retain nutrients. You're running to the bathroom all the time. Your stools are very liquid. You might get a lot of burning. And that's all to do with acid fermentation. The villi are there to absorb liquid nutrients, and if they're not there, then you're not absorbing anything. It's just going to flush right through, and it's not going to be fun. Beyond that, you've got a higher susceptibility to autoimmune disorders. When you start having bacteria and inflammation, infections, mold and things getting directly in the bloodstream, you're going to have issues with autoimmune. It's just going to pop up. It's almost unavoidable. You're going to hold more toxins because you're letting them go right into your bloodstream and you're not eliminating them appropriately. And you're also likely to get constipated. And I know that's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum, but again, if things are fermenting, you got low magnesium, low electrolytes, you're just not able to move things through.
Wow.
But I do have, the good news is I do have a list of things here. All of these I used to help rebuild my intestines, reverse my celiac disease, reverse my corn allergy. Chlorophyll is something you're going to hear me talk about every day, several times a day. We all need to take it.
Is that a supplement?
It is, and you need to take at least 100 milligrams. I've been taking 100 milligrams on and off for like 8 years. I am getting ready to switch to a higher dosage formula that Dr. Young makes. It's a gram dosage, so it's about 10 times stronger.
How long did it take for it to work when you started taking it?
It works on different levels. So the immediate level of higher concentration, greater level of focus, better memory recall, greater awareness of my surroundings, a sense of peace and calm, that happened almost immediately. There's a detox effect that happens within 15 minutes. Every cell in your body starts to purge of toxins, of acids. I've had elder gentlemen tell me that the chlorophyll made the biggest difference in their life. I think it was like a 50, 60-year-old man tell me that taking the chlorophyll made a huge difference for his focus and his attention span. As far as the rebuilding of the gut, again, my situation was so severe, it took me like 6 months or more just to start seeing some sort of improvement. And I think it took me between 1 year and 2 years to really get past all the allergies.
Okay.
So it does take some time. Keep in mind, I was not as thorough with it as I could have been because of financial issues. Having kids, not making enough money, struggling paying the bills, things like that. So I was just doing what I could when I could.
Okay.
I would get a lot of free produce, those sort of things, and I would just juice it.
Okay.
I worked places where I was able to take food home, and that would help to make up for some of that.
How does one come to know, what they are allergic to?
So there's a few different ways that you can test your allergies. Traditionally, you're going to go to a doctor, and they're going to do a panel test where they do about 144 needles in your arm or on your back. Those are terribly inaccurate. I had one of those done when I was 14 years old. They panel tested me for a whole slew of allergies, most of them being outdoor airborne allergies.
Okay.
And none of them, I didn't see that I was allergic to gluten. I didn't see I was allergic to corn. I didn't have any other allergies pop up at that time. It was just like ragweed and pollen and dust mites and mold and things like that. But it took a solid 7 or 8 years past that to learn of my family's genetic history. So that was the first major clue that I had, was my family's genetic history. You can also go look for, they're called NAET practitioners. N-A-E-T. It stands for Nambuta Padra's Allergy Elimination Technique. And what they'll do, it's a type of reflexology. And sometimes your massage therapists and chiropractors will do this for you too, and you can even do it yourself once you understand what the technique is, but it's called muscle testing.
Okay.
And without wasting too much time, you're just look up muscle testing. You're going to wind up putting the product on your chest. You're going to wind up sticking your arm out and having somebody push on your arm. There's a strong response and a weak response. And if you get a really weak response, that's an indication your body either can't tolerate it or you might actually be allergic to it. After that, I think the best way is by keeping a food log, a food diary, and just keeping really thorough track of everything you're eating and all these symptoms and experiences that you're having. Because that's going to give you the best overall view of what you're dealing with. There's sometimes the allergies would bother me one week and not the next. So any of those 3 or 4 methods, that would be a good way to get some research done.
Okay. It's about 37 minutes now past the hour of 7 p.m. And we're going to open up phone lines and have some dialogue with you, our listening audience, in just a moment. I want to give Daniel another opportunity, some more opportunity, because this information is really, really good.
This is Jim Hanna of Oz Sunshine, and we are listening to Kingdom Talk with Augustus Washington Jr.
All right, Daniel, we're going to continue into what you're talking about, because this information, I believe a lot of times people don't really understand that a lot of this information really could be life and death for people.
It is, and that's why I deal with this, is because it's life and death. For those of you who weren't here last time around with my previous broadcast with you, I actually had such intense acid reflux as a young boy at the age of 14 that it pushed me to suicide.
Wow.
So acid imbalance is not a joke. It's not something to laugh about unless it makes you feel better and you're not doing it at somebody else. It's really serious. It can damage or destroy or just take your life.
Wow.
And when you think about those around you, your loved ones, they're dealing with things that are oftentimes acid imbalances. And if we just made little changes here and there, over time, the compounding effect of those little changes can have a profound impact on the quality of life and the length of the quality of that life.
Yes.
For instance, some of these other things on this list for rebuilding the gut, silver, colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is what we used to use in battlefield medicine and as an antibiotic before we came out with penicillin. So this is like the original old school antibiotic. And once again, you may have to check my research on this, but I believe my wife and I had found a study online that showed where previous versions of the coronavirus were even eliminated in a lab in a petri dish using colloidal silver. So,
are you serious?
Yeah, and once again, double check my information, please. Anything I say, please double check it. Be thorough.
Absolutely.
But that was something that we had found. I don't have it right here on my fingertips, but it is out there. Olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract can neutralize dormant pathogens in the blood. So if you got some creepy crawlies sticking around inside your bloodstream, olive leaf can effectively get rid of those. Okay. It also is a potent expectorant, so it's going to eliminate mucus from the body. And you consider everything that's going on nationally right now, or internationally, a lot of people with the COVID, it's the mucus that's getting them. It's the mucus building up the lungs, triggering pneumonia. That's what's winds up shutting down the body, is that they're not able to breathe. Right. So if you look at Dr. Sabi's work, he said that 90% of all disease is connected to mucus. Yes. I think Dr. Young probably would say 100% of all disease is connected to mucus. And mucus is a response to acid in the body. The more acidic the body becomes, you create mucus to bind it up, to keep it from damaging your internal organs and essential functions. I have a few others on here. Clay. This is a bentonite or montmorillonite clay. It is negatively charged to match your healthiest red blood cells. It magnetically pulls in all toxins. So that would be pharmaceutical products. You have to take an hour apart from any pharmaceutical medication. It would pull in food poisoning. It'd pull in acid waste from your body, heavy metals, radiation. Clay? Clay. Bentonite clay or montmorillonite clay. I've drank it myself many times. It works fantastically. There's a book at New Life called The Clay Cure. The author had a cyst on his wrist the size of like a half a golf ball, and he would have to smash it with a 2x4. Ugh. Yeah, just to be able to live his life. And he started taking the clay, and I don't remember the time period, but almost right away the cyst went away for him and never came back.
So what else is it good for?
It's remineralizing the body. It remineralizes the body and pulls out all the protons, all the acid-rich products. So it's going to strengthen your bones. It's going to strengthen your immune system. It's going to help to detoxify everything in your body.
And that helps overall health sound.
Correct. And the clay, I would take at night personally. I would take it at night so I have more time to heal throughout the day. If you take it in the morning, you will wake up feeling much more clear-headed, and you'll get rid of a lot of that fog and crud from the night before healing. We covered liquid feasts already. Hydration. This is a really important one. If you're not drinking at least half of an ounce of water per every pound of body weight that you have, you are severely dehydrated. You really should be drinking 1 ounce per pound of body weight that you have. So I'm 180 pounds on my worst days, right? I'm not as skinny as I used to be, but it's between 90 ounces and a gallon and a half of alkaline ionized water, ideally. Every single day is what you should be drinking.
Say that again?
Alkaline ionized water. I said that kind of fast. Everything being slightly alkaline in your body, all your fluids, all your water, everything is supposed to be slightly alkaline. So one of the easiest ways to replenish that is to get or make alkaline ionized water, or just alkaline water even. So the ionization has to do with the electrical charge, like the clay, matching your healthy red blood cells. The alkaline has to do with the pH, being more life-giving as opposed to death-affirming. Where I work, we have it. You can find it all over Augusta. You can find it at Kroger. You can find it at New Life. There are machines that you can get. You can make it yourself, but when you make it yourself, you have to be careful. You have to get a very pure water source to start with, and then you should add mineral drops to bring the pH up.
All right, someone's asking, how can they make alkaline water?
So there's not an exact formula, but the best thing to do is to start with either reverse osmosis, distilled, or some sort of seriously purified water. And then add mineral drops. Trace Mineral Research brand is the one that I prefer. They have an optimal pH and concentrate drops. It's 20 to 40 drops per gallon, and it won't go to a specific pH because it depends on where you start. Everybody's going to have a slightly different pH when they do that.
Gotcha.
But that will raise the pH, and you can test your drinking water at home. You just got to get a pool test kit.
Okay.
Baking soda. Your saliva is supposed to be. I want to say it's like a 7.2, and if your saliva is below a 7.2, that's an indication that you're sodium bicarbonate deficient. So your baking soda in your saliva neutralizes the acid in your food. That is something important to supplement with because we're all deficient in it, basically, and it helps to keep the acid out of our intestines. It helps with gas. It helps with acid reflux. It's going to help with indigestion. There's a lot of kind of underground alternative therapeutic treatments with high doses of baking soda as well. And then the last two things I have written down here for that would be minerals, which is the drops we just talked about.
Right.
And then omega-3s. I would prefer some sort of like coconut or avocado or hemp-based omega-3s, but a fish oil would work fine if it's heavily purified as well. If you're still consuming fish products, it work fine for you. But the omega-3s make sure that your blood is hydrated, retains hydration, and that you're eliminating things. It coats the intestines to help move food products more easily.
So would you say that most of what we've talked about it's going to work better if the body's hydrated?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Drinking that water and taking those fats, every cell in your body has a lipid membrane. If you go completely fat-free, you'll die.
Wow. 803-335-3131. Open up the phone lines for my Kingdom Talk listeners. It is March 23rd, 2K20. It's the live broadcast. Of course, it will be rebroadcast tomorrow at 2 p.m. on 99.9 FM radio.
It's actually April.
Is it April? I'm saying March.
It's okay. We've been in lockdown for so long, it feels like March.
It is April. It is April 23rd. So if someone listens to this tomorrow, they're going to think we were not live. Yeah. But so it's April. Please forgive me. It's April 23rd, 2K20. It's a live broadcast. We will rebroadcast tomorrow. I don't know why I kept saying March.
It's okay. And I hated to correct you, but I just, for the...
Please
for the
correct
listeners.
me because everybody's listening.
Like a month ago, what?
Yeah. So yes, so you can call in. They're probably thinking, well, we can't call in. It's talking about March.
No, you can totally call in.
Yeah, like really call in.
Yeah, come talk to us.
It's April. It's April 23rd, 2K20, and tomorrow will be the rebroadcast. It'll be 24th of April. Okay, so you can call in if you have a question for Daniel, or if you just have something you'd like to chime in to the discussion on tonight. We'd love to have you come on. We welcome that here on Kingdom Talk. Your numbers of access are 803-335-3131. If you're looking in by way of YouTube or Facebook, the numbers of access are on your screen right now. So we'd love to hear from you. 803-335-3131. Also, if you have questions that you don't want to be live on the air, by all means, you can send that question right now through the live chat room there on YouTube or on Facebook on the live stream there on Kingdom Talk. So we welcome that tonight.
And you can also text me directly at that 803-761-0307 as well.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the book real quick again.
Sure.
We have a hard copy of the book. right now. For those of you that would like a hard copy, Daniel's going to tell you how you can get that.
Yeah. So the digital copy is still the same. You just text that number. If you want a hard copy, go ahead and send a message to that number. I have the black and white copy. Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, I think Amazon sells the black and white for $15 and the color for $25. For this broadcast, anybody that texts me, just mention Kingdom Talks.
Yes.
And instead of the $15 and $25, I will do $10 and $20. You'll get $5 off of the book.
All right, you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that opportunity. The book is packed with information, and you really want to get a copy of this. Okay, so but you got to say Kingdom Talk. You got to say you heard it on Kingdom Talk, and you'll be able to get that $5 off the color or the black and white. Okay, so you want to make sure you do that. It's the book is the basic guide to alkalizing, and again, there's a lot of good information in the book. Why alkaline, what is acid, what acid does to the body, what the body does to acid, etc. You want to really make sure you get your hands on a copy of this. Now I have the ebook as well. I'm just one of those individuals. I like a hard copy.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it's just a preference. But again, many of you, I want to say this too. Jesus dealt with the whole man, and a lot of times we are focusing on people, just jumping and shouting and enjoying Jesus, and all of that's wonderful. I'll do it with the best of them. However, there has to be someone that says, okay, in the midst of the jumping, in the midst of doing ministry, we have to make sure that we're taking care of the temple. Many times, many of you that are listening to me right now that are believers, the Word of God talks about that our bodies are the temple of Holy Spirit. And if that is the case, and it is, then what are we doing to preserve it? What are we doing to keep our bodies at maximum functionality? We want to be at the apex of health as close as we possibly can. And so this is what we're talking about today. And me and Daniel, we're coming together. He knows he's a great resource of information concerning a lot of the things that I'm concerned about, a lot of things that I've researched and talked and just studied over the years, just because I want to know, because I want to be the whole man that Jesus talked about, that spirit, soul, and body. I told you earlier that me and Daniel, we're working on some things now. I'm putting some things together so that we both can come together, and that's going to be our platform. We're going to have a broadcast and everything and it's going to be called Spirit, Soul, and Body. So we're going to deal with all three. And it doesn't matter if you are born again. It doesn't matter if you are not born again. That platform, the information we're going to be sharing about spirit, the soul, and the body, it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to need to get that information. So look out for that. Preferably, we're going to be getting that really soon together. Our schedules, we have to make all of those things gel, but you want to make sure you get be a part of it, and the information that he's giving and that I'm giving as well. Let's see. Let me go to social media right now. Again, the phone lines are open if you'd like to chime in. Jacqueline chimed in and says, "Is there a good store-bought alkaline water?"
Yeah. And so my favorite brand of store-bought alkaline water is going to be Essentia. Essentia is one of the only brands that I've ever seen this side of the United States that has
Essentia or Essentia?
Essentia. I say Essentia. Yeah.
Okay.
Essentia, like essential.
Okay.
Like your grocery workers right now. Thank them for being out there.
Yes, for sure.
And it's Essentia. It's ionized alkaline water. It's got a pH of like a 9.5, between a 9 and a 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only ones that are alkaline and ionized. Otherwise, I think New Life Natural Foods has an ionizer where you can get alkaline water on tap.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the ionized water on tap. It's like $2.50 a gallon. They have jugs there, or you can bring your own jugs. Personally, I wound up having to buy a machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Well, I got 4 kids. We got a 6-person household, and when you start talking about a gallon and a half for me, a gallon for my wife, and let's just say a gallon for the kids, 3 gallons a day, that's $7.50 plus cooking. So if you just double it, $15 a day, that's $400 or $500 a month easily in alkaline water. But I managed to get a used one. A very sweet older lady asked me for $500, and I offered $400, and she took it. And those machines brand new are like $2,000.
Wow.
Between $1,000 and $4,000, depending on the company you go through.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was something I wanted to ask you, because you talk about, yes, that's what it was. So each person probably should be at about, a gallon of water a day? Or close to it, 70, I don't know.
No, yeah, everybody should be at a gallon. Optimum hydration, yes, everybody should be at least a gallon a day, because your average American is not going to be less than 100 pounds as far as an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope you all are listening to that. We all, and now that's where I've got to work a bit harder.
The alkaline water makes it easier. The biggest complaint I have from people about drinking water and the problems they have with it is that they feel bloated, they feel gassy, it makes them feel uncomfortable, they don't like the taste, and I think all those complaints come from the fact that the water is either bottled or tap. There's a lot of chemicals in there, and the water's acidic. So you're losing electrolytes. Every time you drink acidic water, or even distilled water, you're losing minerals, you're losing electrolytes, you're losing your life force, your hydration, your ability to maintain functionality into that water. And so that's why you don't like it. It's not the water itself, it's what we as a nation have done to the water.
Oh, for sure. I actually have a picture that pH balances my
Cool.
water.
Cool.
I just have to do better, and when I say that, it's not that it's not even that I don't want to do it. Sometimes it's like I'm waking up and I'm just going.
Okay.
And then a lot of times I don't eat until like afternoon. I don't do breakfast and stuff.
I don't either, and that's why I do the protein shakes or a juice first thing in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
So this morning I did a celery glow. It's a 32-ounce celery and lemon juice by Evolution brand. But that breakfast is pretty important. For me, the water is an issue because I forget. Like, I'm at work all the time on a retail floor, so right now, especially with gloves and a face mask, I have to take it all off and change everything just to get a little 2-ounce drink of water. So I have about a 30-ounce water bottle, which is pretty close to a liter.
Okay.
I drink 2 of them full in the morning when I wake up. So as soon as I wake up, I have 2 liters of water. I take all my supplements with
You just drink it like...
Yep, because I'm taking handfuls of pills. I'm taking all my different supplements to keep my immune system up and help with pain and help with focus and give me energy throughout the day. And so once I've taken all those, that's 2 liters of water just to be hydrated first thing in the morning. I try to consume that whole liter while I'm at work, and then I try to consume another liter by the time I get home, and then I have another round of supplements at night. So I'm shooting for like 3 to 5 liters, but I think, in all honesty, I'm probably not getting more than 2 on average. I'm probably getting those 2 in the morning, and that might be it the whole day. I might get another half in, but that's probably it. So I'm not great. I'm probably barely hitting the minimum hydration for myself every day.
Yeah, what do you think about? And I need to get to some of my people that are chiming in here.
Yes.
I tried something. I'm taking something. And I think it's really good, but I want to know your thoughts about it. I think it's Dell Immune V.
Not familiar with the Dell Immune V. Do you remember what's in it?
It's like an immune booster type thing.
I'm gonna look that up while you're telling me.
But it's like super great.
Okay.
From just from what I've experienced with it thus far.
Dell Immune V.
Yes, I believe that's the name of it. I'm going to use it some more, but I had
okay.
Yeah, I had an individual that was had a cold for like a month, and just they couldn't shake it, and so I gave them 4. I told them, I said, take 2 now, and take 2 when you get up in the morning.
Yeah,
it was gone.
I believe that.
It just knocked it out.
I can believe that. So that's interesting because this is basically just a probiotic and some protein.
Yeah.
And it's a probiotic discovered in the 1970s in Russia. and says it contains pure cell wall pieces.
Yeah, it's really good.
People do get a lot of benefits from probiotics. Probiotics are one of those things where it falls into a middle gray area where there are so many benefits that come from it. If you take it and it works for you, you might want to stick with it. Dr. Young actually recommends to avoid all probiotics, but I've seen people have wonderful results taking very specific strains or taking a dose of a certain product that they couldn't get from the other avenues that they tried.
Right.
And I had somebody today tell me that, this might be a little off topic, but he told me that Hitler actually had a horrible digestive system. And I joked and said it was all the hatred, right?
Yeah.
But he had a horrible digestive system, and they found this he had a particular strain of probiotic in his bile, and he was a World War I soldier from 1917, and they synthesized it and made it into Mutaflor, Mutaflor, still for sale in Germany.
Right.
And apparently it helped his digestive issues tremendously. So, yeah, I think that there's probably a different way around that, but if probiotics are the way that work for you, use them.
Well,
for
I
now.
started actually because of I did a cleanse, a fast.
Yeah.
And so you have to put that.
You can, yeah.
The good stuff back in.
Yep. The times that I'll take probiotics, I had accidentally stabbed myself in the eye 6 months ago.
Yikes.
It was really painful, and the ophthalmologist said I had to put an antibiotic salve in my eye to prevent losing it from infection. I didn't believe him, but I took it anyways just in case, and that was the time that I bought a probiotic.
Gotcha. Real quick, because we're just about out of time, I have Kingdom Talk listener chiming in and says, what would you recommend a woman do specifically if she has been dealing with fibroids for years?
Inositol and choline.
Oh, who said it again?
Choline and inositol. I had a nurse come in when I worked as the assistant store manager of the vitamin shop for a couple years in Aiken, and the nurse, she herself, clients, patients that she dealt with, friends, family, had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is the fibroid cyst in the ovaries, and taking choline, CHOLINE, yep, and inositol, INOSITOL. Both of those are like B vitamins, basically, in the section. Taking both of those got rid of the cysts and prevented them from coming back. And primarily what those do is those level out nutrient densities amongst all your cells.
Great. Listen, Saints, we've got to go. Our time is up. I've enjoyed being with you. Let me just say a great big God bless you to Tangi Palmore, also Bessie Sharp, Megan Doolittle. Let me say a great big God bless you to Carolina Miles, Jacqueline Surrey, Angela Jackson, Linda Hillary. Who else we have? Hannah's tuned in. Just everyone that's tuned in. I hope I've gotten everyone. Make sure you definitely hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube page, hit the like button on Facebook. Give me some hearts and all of that good stuff on Facebook. We've got to get out of here. Me and Daniel, I've enjoyed being with you on tonight.
For sure.
Thank you, Daniel, for coming back.
Yes, sir.
We're going to share some more in the near future when we get everything up and going that the platform we're going to be dealing with. But until then, if the Lord tarries, we'll be back. Same time, same station right here. WUCC 99.9 FM radio. Listen, I want you to stay safe, stay in the Lord, and get to make sure you nourish that body. All right?
Stay well.
Stay well. God bless you. Good night.
Just
You've been listening to Kingdom Talk. The views and opinions of this broadcast may or may not be the views and opinions of this radio station, staff, and or ownership. We thank you for listening to Kingdom Talk, and we appreciate all of your calls. Remember to tune in to Kingdom Talk every Thursday from 7 until 8 p.m. And remember that you are a king's kid, so always speak up, speak life, speak kingdom, Kingdom Talk. Until next Thursday, God bless you, and good night.